North Sea coast with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply, though, through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist, really, even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
You've won £54,321.
Please don't joke. This would change my life.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GBNews.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it.
Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
How's everyone doing? Well, this is an absolutely historic moment.
It really is. 5 minutes ago, I just got back from Epping. It's a victory for the Epping community as the High Court backed their council's bid to halt the asylum seeker use of the Bell Hotel.
Keep us safe, that's all. That's all we ask for. Yeah. Put us first, not these people.
But it's a victory for you as well, wherever in the country you are, because this could set a legal precedent. I mean, that the hotel in your local area has to go as well. There is an opportunity here for Yvette Cooper, of course. She could just start deporting people. And Operation Raise the Colours, yeah, that's still in full swing, but new footage has revealed that the council took no time at all to try to clear it up. Is it just Operation Patriotic? I mean, I have a very, very special announcement as well at the end of the show that you will not want to miss. Also,
a source of tax revenue working people pay, their income tax.
Haven't increased taxes.
And ending the tax break. £1 billion of unfunded tax cuts. And so the tax break for...
get your hands off our money. The Chancellor is eyeing up a radical overhaul of Britain's property taxes and...
What do you say to your victims, Hugh Edwards?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome indeed to Jim'll Fix It.
Well, after a string of controversies, I think that's putting it mildly in the case of Jimmy Savile, the BBC has spent £61,000 on badges, mugs and lanyards for a campaign to promote cultural change at the BBC. Also...
He's got his hand on the hood, look, as the horse goes up.
He's won the race.
Look, watch again, look to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was going on there? Chaos in Windsor as a blindfolded loose horse crashed into a plastic running. And joining me on my wonderful panel this evening, we have political commentator Esther Cracky. We've got the co-founder of the Together Association, Alan Miller, and political commentator Jonathan Liss. And what's happening here?
I've got to raise my glass, Kirk, both to you and to Patrick, of course, the first animal mayor.
Well, been away for a couple of hours. I'm not actually sure what that is. But anyway, get ready, Britain. Here we go. Britain has said no to migrant hotels. Next.
Hello, very good evening to you from the newsroom. The top story, well, we start in Essex, where asylum seekers are to be removed from the Bell Hotel in Epping after the council there won a temporary High Court injunction. It means all migrants must now leave by the 12th of September, despite a failed last-minute bid from the Home Office to have that case dismissed. The ruling follows weeks of protests sparked after a man living at the hotel was charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl, which he denies. Locals are divided tonight, some celebrating outside the hotel, calling it a victory for the town, while others warn the decision only kicks the can down the road. Council leader Chris Whitbread has welcomed the judgment, saying tensions risked irreparable harm. And lawyers from the Home Secretary and the hotel owners say they plan to appeal. Also tonight, Sir Keir Starmer has co-chaired a high-level meeting on security guarantees for Ukraine, as Donald Trump has ruled out sending US troops on the ground if a peace deal is reached. Instead, the president suggested the United States could help by air and warned that Vladimir Putin would face a rough situation if he refuses to cooperate in the peace process. It comes as reports suggest Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky have agreed to a one-on-one meeting within the next 2 weeks. Well, after yesterday's Oval Office talks, Zelensky called the discussions significant, saying Ukraine is already working on concrete guarantees.
After this productive meeting with the President and then with all our colleagues, the partners, we confirmed that we are ready for a trilateral meeting. And if Russia proposed to President of the United States bilateral, and then we will see the result of bilateral, and then it can be the trilateral. So I said always, so Ukraine will never stop on the way to peace, and we are ready for any kind of format, but on the level of leaders.
Sir Keir Starmer has also said the so-called coalition of the willing has made real progress and will continue talks with Washington in the coming days.
Today's meeting was good and constructive, and there was a real sense of unity between the European leaders that were there and President Trump and President Zelensky. These were the two outcomes that were the most important coming out of today. They're positive outcomes. There was real sense of unity. We've made real progress today.
Leader of the Lib Dems, Ed Davey, has also shared his thoughts with us here at GB News. He says the UK needs to increase support for Ukraine.
Still fear that Trump is driven by a desire to get a deal with President Putin and is putting that above the long-term interests of Ukraine and of European security. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's a deal that Ukraine would willingly sign up to. I think the best response that Britain could make would be to strengthen the hand of Zelensky at negotiations by offering to increase our support for Ukraine, for example, with British Typhoon jet fighters. I think we have to make sure that Ukraine goes into those negotiations in the strongest possible way.
Sir Ed Davey there speaking to us earlier today. Well, in other news, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is weighing up a major shake-up of property tax. She's considering a new levy on homes worth more than £500,000, which could replace stamp duty on owner-occupied properties. The move comes as the Treasury is exploring fresh ways to raise revenue while still keeping Labour's pledge to protect the state pension triple lock. And Constance Martin is seeking permission to appeal against her conviction for the gross negligence manslaughter of her baby daughter Victoria. The Court of Appeal confirmed earlier an application has been lodged after Martin and her partner Mark Gordon were found guilty in July. The judge accused them of trying to sabotage and manipulate their retrial. Young Victoria's body was discovered in a shopping bag in Brighton in 2023 after the couple went on the run for more than 50 days. To avoid social services. The pair are due to be sentenced on the 15th of September. That's the news on GB News. I'll be back with an update at 10. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Well, a very good evening, everybody. I mean, it's without doubt a massive story today, a massive story for Epping, a massive story for Essex, it's a massive story for Great Britain, really. It's a turning point in the country's migrant crisis, and not before time. Asylum seekers will be kicked out of the Bell Hotel in Epping after the local council won a temporary High Court injunction blocking those migrants from being housed there. Now, a little bit later on in the show, I'm going to play you the full package. I went down there, met up with loads of locals, and we spoke about the problem facing them, some of their harrowing stories about what have been their experiences in their community, and it was just tremendous to actually hear from them. I would just like to say a bit of a thank you as well to the people of Epping for just having me, really, earlier on this evening. But I do just want to say a couple of things on this, because the government tried to block this at the last minute, which really I think does indicate whose side they're on. The other problem now is that the government might try to move all of these people out of that hotel and into houses of multiple occupancy. They're going to have a real job on their hands doing that, because that hotel has got X amount of people in it. If you close others around the country now, they've got hundreds of young men in them. Where are you going to put them? There is a solution, and that solution is to start deporting people. So will Yvette Cooper actually decide to do that? But here's a little snippet of what went on at the Bell Hotel earlier today.
Have been peacefully protesting, Patrick, week in, week out. We were told not to. Everything was against us. Everyone was against us. But do you know what? Nothing can beat the British people and their spirit.
We've got one of the best immigration policies in the world, and we would welcome people who want to come and work, you know, and benefit the community. These men here do not benefit our community.
Don't matter how long these immigrants had stayed in here. There is no way in a million years Epping would not have backed down.
I've got 3 boys and I don't even want them walking home from the local pub, and they're 20 years old, just because they have to walk past these.
Broxbourne Council is going to take legal action against the migrant hotel.
And that last bit you heard there was really important. Again, I've got loads on this later on in the show, but other councils have started seeing what's happened in Epping, and they've decided that they want a bit of it as well. There is a legal precedent that's been set right now as of what's happened in Essex, which is that if your hotel got planning permission to just be a hotel and not indeed a dumping ground for asylum seekers, then technically speaking, it should be illegal to put asylum seekers in there on a long-term basis. This is now a huge, huge problem for this government. It's a huge problem for the Home Secretary. And again, I think the only solution to that really is to press the deportation button, because I don't see what else she can do now. So expect this to start rippling across the country. But more on that a little bit later on. Here is another story for you. Similar theme, actually. Illegal immigrants are getting discounted beach holiday huts and even discounted hypnotherapy for stress relief. According to the National Audit Office, the cost of housing asylum seekers is set to hit a staggering £15.3 billion over the next decade. But does that figure take into account the endless stream of these freebies and discounts handed out to them while they are put up in hotels across the country? Because the list of stuff is jaw-dropping. Let's have a little look at Wandsworth Council. It's offering money off pottery classes and pantomime tickets, you know? In Birmingham, the same Birmingham City Council that declared itself effectively bankrupt last year, asylum seekers are offered discounts on trampolining and martial arts. What could go wrong? Meanwhile, in Wakefield, according to Zia Youssef, the head of Reform UK's Doge department, taxpayers are footing the bill for so-called inclusion workshops. In Portsmouth, this is the one I was finding out about earlier on. This is kind of the new one. In Portsmouth, asylum seekers are being offered, get this, 40% off beach hut hires and 10% off Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, you know, look, thanks for coming, lads. Tremendous to have you here. Do you fancy a little bit of a holiday? I know you've only just got here, but do you fancy a bit of a holiday? Yeah, just in case you get any trouble, should we just teach you a bit of Jiu-Jitsu? It's bonkers, isn't it? In the London Borough of Richmond, they get free access to gyms, exercise classes and more. Meanwhile, people on benefits and carers are made to pay 40% of the cost. So if you're on benefits, you're a carer and you're British-born, you have to pay 40%, but if you just happen to have arrived from Sudan, you can get it all for free. On top of that, asylum seekers can bag discounts on Pilates, French and Spanish lessons. Just hold fire there, because I wonder whether or not those French and Spanish lessons might have come in really handy when they were living in France. You know, I don't know, just hey, maybe it'll make it easier for them to be sent back there. Oh, good, they can go paddle boarding as well. They can practice there. What is the French for paddle boarding? I don't know. Kayaking, even, again, like I said, hypnosis for stress relief. All of this, remember, is at a time when hard-working Brits are being squeezed to within an inch of their lives with higher bills, higher taxes, fewer services. If you own a house above £500,000, it now looks like Rachel Reeves is planning to wrestle some of that money off you as well. It's bonkers. Portsmouth Reform UK councillor actually spoke on GB News earlier, explaining how he found out about hundreds of hidden asylum seekers being housed.
It's been an absolute mess, Martin. I mean, this first come to light to me a few months ago, where I had residents contact me telling me that they were being evicted from their houses using Section 21s because the landlord had signed up to a government scheme to take migrants.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch out for that stuff. As you've seen, I was at the Bell Hotel earlier today. The sentiment was pretty clear, wasn't it? Many people feel that these benefits and those elements of support should be redirected to veterans, to pensioners and to other people who've paid into the system.
In our country, like old people who've got no money, or they're, you know, cutting their heating allowance, they should be in places like that. Our people who've lived here all their life and paid into our system, they should be in warm places.
So you wouldn't have any problem if they'd said, right, OK, we've got a load of homeless military veterans and we're going to put them here?
100%. They'd be welcome, because they'd integrate in the community and they deserve to be there. They've paid in all their life.
I can't wait to show you everything that happened in Epping today. I'm really looking forward to that, and thank you very much again to the people of Epping. But meanwhile, while we've got all of those freebies being divvied out, Rachel Reeves, well, she's looking for more of your money, isn't she? Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We are joined this evening by political commentator Esther Crackey. We've also got the co-founder of the Together Association, Alan Miller, and we've got the journalist as well, Jonathan Liss. Right, OK, evening all. So, the freebies for asylum seekers, do you have to pay for your own Pilates by any chance, Esther? Do you get free hypnosis for stress? Or?
I'd use hypnosis for something else. I'd use hypnosis to convince this government to get out of power. But yes, I have to pay for my own Pilates. Yes, I'm going to say, we need to bribe the government to leave politics. Anyway. No, but this is clearly indefensible. But this is not going to stop, because now the government is going to have to find a way to house these people in private accommodation as opposed to hotels. Because now that the Epping, and I went to Epping, by the way, I went to the Bell Hotel as well, and I saw the whole scene. Now that they've made this headway, everyone else is going to do it. I cannot believe that a few years ago, the Conservative government was considering sending prisoners to Estonia because we were running out of prison spaces. But for some reason, that's just beyond the pale for people who've not paid into the system, even though sending prisoners to Estonia would have been much cheaper. Why isn't that an option?
Okay.
Send them somewhere else to get for offshore processing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing the kind of full Epping package at 10 p.m. So we'll try and stick to a bit more on the freebies, I think, in this section. But Alu, how does that make you feel? So you're a business owner. You're paying your taxes. You're doing all sorts. You're about to get clobbered again in autumn by the looks of things. But meanwhile, if you want to go to Portsmouth and rent a beach hut, it's going to be cheaper for you if you just arrive from Eritrea.
I think the British public is absolutely sick of being treated like we're mugs. We've had a situation where we've seen attacks on farming, attacks on small businesses, attacks on pensioners. Across the board, there's contempt. We're being treated and gaslit, actually, and being told we're all sorts of names for asking questions and pushing back. Brave the women in pink who fought there at the Bell Hotel, but across the country as well. We've seen it in Falkirk, we've seen it in Norwich, we've seen it in the Barbican at London, right? People standing up peacefully. Even in the news today, people were saying all sorts of words like anarchy and violence. But actually, this is the backbone of Britain, of saying, we're not having this, it's not acceptable, we don't think this is right. And so we need to have a reckoning. And it needs to be a peaceful, sensible, rational one, but it needs to be robust and it needs to be dealt with. And the problem is that on the one hand, you've got a government that's got lost control of what's going on and borders, and you've got civil servants who are contradicting what elected representatives have said. And at the same time, you've also got councils, some of which have got very dubious outlooks, who are also massively in debt, over 140 billion in the UK.
Can I just put this into context? Only 14 councils in England and Wales are not in dire financial straits. Birmingham City Council, which is over £1 billion in debt, is increasing council tax by 22%. To offer residents fewer services, fewer council services. So they're increasing council tax to offer them fewer services, and yet they have the money to do all of this. Just to put it into context how ridiculous this whole situation is.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, there might be, Jonathan, there might be some young kids out there who are desperate to learn Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but it turns out they'd get a much better deal on it if they went to France and came back in a boat, wouldn't it?
Well, I think that those councils should be offering free classes to all the citizens who can't afford to pay for them for whatever reason. And, those councils have said that they do offer free or reduced rates for lots of people, benefits payments, etc. Do I think it's right to shut out asylum seekers from accessing council activities? No. Do I think that it's a positive thing to maybe, help them to settle into the community, which they might be a part of in the very near future? I do think that there's an argument for that as well. Now, it's not every council that's offering this. It's not every activity that's being offered, and some councils are being more generous than others. This is like a handful of London councils with left-wing and liberal councils that are offering this. There's certainly lots of other councils across the land. In principle, I don't have a problem.
But how can any council say that they're in dire financial straits when they have the resources to offer these sorts of things? I mean, that's just scandalous.
I think the key word that you used was citizen, and the idea that you've got basically what we've said is illegal migrants. They're coming from France. You're calling them asylum seekers. Well, a lot of the time we can't establish that fact, and there's a big concern about that. The other thing is we're being told that we need to have now digital ID along with other things to track all of us who are actually citizens, to monitor us, to surveil us, but it is not going to do anything to do with that. So we've got increasing treatment of our own actual citizens in an ever more pernicious way, and yet flagrantly treating people who are not citizens currently, and we don't know much about them, in a completely different way. It's disproportionate, and that's what makes people so annoyed. It's not that the British public have got a great sense of fair play and decency. We've historically demonstrated that.
Well, look, our asylum rates are roughly similar to major European countries. In fact, we say proportionally fewer asylum seekers than many other countries.
France is like 2.5 times the size of us, though, right?
Not in terms of population.
No, in terms of land mass, in terms of physical land
population, in terms of
what's crazy?
GDP and population, they're the same.
Other than the fact that these people are coming from France, and 17 million Brits went on holiday in France last year, so I happen to be one of the skeptics buying the whole asylum-seeking argument. The reason for the digital ID introduction is because back when Cameron was Prime Minister, the leader of the French Republican Party said, stop making it so easy for asylum seekers to work in Britain, because that's what's attracting them. He was mocking the country, saying the reason why they're coming from France to Britain is because to actually work in France, you need paperwork. It's a lot easier. You come across on a small boat and you get a moped that you can rent, and you can work for Deliveroo, Just Eat for £3 a delivery.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. It's easy for them to work. They're not going to these gyms or 50% off, they're working.
Well, there you go. Well, look, I don't know how many people are watching and listening to this who would have liked to, scrimped and saved a little bit and gone and rented a beach hut in somewhere like Portsmouth or Bournemouth or some of these places, and maybe couldn't afford to do it. But, it turns out that you can get that stuff at a discounted rate if you illegally entered Britain. So, again, it's something a little bit two-tiered there, isn't it? But like I said, we're going to have a lot more from On the Scene of Epping for you later this evening. I'm very, very much looking forward to bringing that to you. In response to the migrants being housed in Portsmouth, which we alluded to there with the beach huts, etc., a spokesperson for the Home Office said, we're continuing to expand the use of dispersal accommodation as part of our strategy to reduce reliance on costly hotels and deliver a more sustainable and cost-effective asylum system. This approach is being implemented in close consultation with local authorities across the UK to ensure dispersal is balanced and community needs and concerns are taken into account. Can I just say, because we're touching on this later, the idea of dispersing people out of hotels and into HMOs is going to end terribly. It's going to end terribly. It's not going to happen. They're not going to let it happen. A Birmingham Council spokesperson said Birmingham City Council's Passport to Leisure scheme is designed to support access to health and wellbeing services for residents who may face financial or social barriers. Those with a Passport to Leisure card are able to access 20% discount in a range of eligible groups, such as people on low incomes, people with disabilities, carers and asylum seekers. Asylum seekers are recognised nationally and locally as a vulnerable group, and their inclusion in the scheme reflects the Council's commitment to supporting all residents in need. We've also reached out...
People who actually pay council tax.
Well, it's the only passport they've shown, isn't it? But anyway, there you go. Anyway, we've reached out to Portsmouth Council, Wakefield councillors, a couple of the others were awaiting a response. Oh, good, Richmond have got back to us. Sorry, we're going to be here all night. Richmond Council is proud to support all residents to lead active, healthy lives regardless of their immigration status. Promoting access to sport and exercise not only improves individual well-being, but also helps reduce isolation and strengthen community connections. Wandsworth Council, really? Access for All scheme includes discounts for asylum seekers and was defended in part by a council spokesperson who emphasised that the discounts came at no extra cost to the taxpayer. Well, that was lengthy, wasn't it? Anyway, this will take your mind off it. It's your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year, plus an extra £5,000. And if you've not got a mortgage or rent, well, good for you, but you can have 15 grand anyway. Here's how.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, still to come, Rachel Reeves is essentially coming for your property by the looks of things. It's got a lot of you very worked up. We're going to take a look at what that means for you. Also at 10 p.m. Hey, Joe.
Elated, just delighted that, it's paid off. We've been here week after week protesting and it's worked and we're all just so happy.
Massive result that in Epping that could have serious consequences for the migrant hotel in your town. But up next, well, we're going to go head-to-head on this. Is Operation Raise the Flag patriotic, raise the colours, patriotic, or actually, is there an undertone to all of this? Believe it or not, some people don't like it. We're going to have a debate on that next.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight, and I don't know if you noticed anything there. Yeah, something a little bit different, but it's time for the head-to-head. Flag wars have erupted across London and also Birmingham as well after councils were ordered to tear down the Union flags and St George's crosses. But activists have been fighting back across the UK, launching Operation Raise the Colours by putting up British flags in defiance of these bans. Well, the fallout began last week in Birmingham City Council, ordering the removal of hundreds of Union Jack flags from its streets for, quote, safety reasons. Now, Tower Hamlets council workers also began to tear down some of these flags. But here it is, just one of many acts of defiance where some people decided to daub a roundabout in the St George's flag. Of course, new footage has revealed that the council took no time at all in clearing that up. So there you go. So, look, what I'm asking tonight is Operation Raise the Flag patriotic, or Raise the Colours patriotic? Let's get the thoughts of my wonderful guests on this. We've got political commentator Aman Bagal and Labour councillor Sebastian Salek. Chaps, thank you very, very much. Aman, I see you've come equipped tonight.
Absolutely. This is our glorious Union flag. You know what? I think it's absolutely right that it's being raised across the country, because it's a real indictment, isn't it, that the people who should be in charge of raising it, that local councils around the country, aren't. And it's fallen to the ordinary man and woman on the street to do it themselves.
OK. Well, Sebastian, do you feel as though there's an undercurrent to this? Like there's something a little bit sinister about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at patriotism, it's really about one simple thing, isn't it? It's about coming together as a country. And we saw that only a few weeks ago at the Women's Euros final, whether you were watching it at home or watching it in public, as I was. We were standing shoulder to shoulder with people, screaming cheering, shouting, and the only thing we had in common really was our shared Englishness. Otherwise, we were strangers. Therefore, when you look at this situation, Operation Raising the Colours, you have to ask again: is it about bringing people together? And when you look at who's involved, it's Tommy Robinson. It's Britain First. People who every day are about spreading division. You have to conclude.
Well, I don't necessarily agree
that this isn't about bringing people together.
The reason I don't agree with that is because I don't necessarily think that's entirely true. I mean, there's millions of people involved in it, aren't there? There's millions of people. Just millions.
We don't know how many people, but we know for a fact Britain First are buying flags, and Tommy Robinson is involved. And these are not people who are about bringing people together. That is not part of their repertoire.
This is exactly what's gone wrong in the last 30 years of the Blairite orthodoxy. You know, patriotism has been besmirched as a dirty word. Nation First patriots have been maligned as far-right extremists. And this is exactly what we're hearing tonight. No, this is the average man and woman on the street saying, you know what, we've had enough. We want this red, white and blue flying from every pole, from every town hall. We don't want foreign flags flown from our town halls celebrating foreign independence days. Look, if you're that bothered about free Palestine or free Kashmir, then go to Gaza, go to Pakistan. What on earth are you doing here in Britain?
Let's get one thing really clear. I love our flag. I love our flags. I think we should be flying the Union Jack and the George Cross at every opportunity.
So what issue do you have with people putting them up on lampposts?
I want to see it in churchyards. I want to see it in people's gardens. I want to see it on people's cars. When something gets claimed by the far right, as the Union Jack and the George Cross have sadly sometimes been, we have to snatch it back.
Has the Palestinian flag not been claimed by Hamas?
I'm not going to comment on the Palestinian flag because I don't think we should be flying it on lampposts where it's against the law.
Sorry, but that's been claimed by Hamas, hasn't it? The Palestinian flag. So therefore, by your logic, every single person who goes out on the street and waves a Palestinian flag is essentially doing Hamas's bidding.
By my logic, they'll be claiming it back. But I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about the Palestinian flag. I'm not interested in the Palestinian flag. I'm interested in the flag of my country. And I want to make sure that it's in safe hands and it's something that everybody feels that they can wave with pride.
So you condemn Labour councils tolerating Palestinian flags put up on lampposts across Tower Hamlets, Birmingham, Manchester, in many other places?
Any flag, whether it's the Palestinian flag, the Union Jack, or the Jolly Roger, for all I care, if it's on a lamppost illegally, we should take it down.
Well, you know what? Look, Patrick, this is our flag. This is my flag. This is your flag.
This is my flag too.
And you know what? Be a patriot. Fly it.
Absolutely. In your own garden, on your own car, absolutely. I would want nothing more.
Do you understand that... I get that you've made your point about the idea that the flag has been co-opted by the far right and all of that, but do you understand that there are just millions of ordinary people out there who feel as though they're raising these flags as an act of defiance because they feel as though they've been treated like second-class citizens of their own country for a long time and they've had enough?
And I would ask, why do they feel like second-class citizens? Does anyone around this table know?
Yes, because they feel as though they're being clobbered for their taxes when that money is going to other people. They feel as though that basically they're being clobbered when it comes to things like the amount of school places that they can go. They've been let down massively by the policies that they voted for successive governments not coming true. They've been lied to, disenfranchised, all of that stuff. They feel awful about it.
Well, sure, yeah, you're right that, for example, the tax burden, due to the last government, was taken to its highest level since, I think, the 1940s.
But what they also see, Sebastian, is the hate marches on our streets every week, week in, week out. And you know what? They're sick of it.
What hate marches?
What hate marches? The pro-Hamas marches with foreign flags, foreign sectarian flags flown on our streets.
Mate, if you're trying to get me to say nice things about Hamas, you're going to have a really hard time.
I think also just another point on this, by the way, sorry, is that for a long time, especially like, you know, we were taught about, you know, obviously the bad things about empire and white guilt and all of that. So I think a lot of people also feel in Britain like they've had enough of that stuff and that this is a sign about, like, look, we're just kind of fighting back a bit, we've had enough.
Yeah, look, I understand that there are people who don't feel comfortable with the Union Jack, and that is reasonable, but broadly I think most of us do. And I think we should be able to use it, like many other countries do, like most countries do, as a symbol of pride and bringing people together. But the problem is, this particular campaign is not bringing people together.
It is exactly bringing people together. There's millions of people out there.
Would you stand alongside Tommy Robinson?
Well, you know what? Anyone...
Would you?
Anyone...
Yes or no?
Anyone who stands with this flag is a friend of mine. Because you know what?
Tommy Robinson?
I'll tell you what. This flag is a declaration of our love for Britain. It's a gesture.
I agree, but you're ignoring the question. Would you stand alongside Tommy Robinson in a campaign, in any campaign?
Well, if
it's a yes or a no.
Of course I would. If he's standing...
You would stand alongside Tommy Robinson?
Well, if he's defending this flag, this glorious Union flag, why wouldn't I?
People are willing to see through certain other things historically and have a look at the situation in Britain today and say, well, actually, if it comes down to standing by someone with the flag, then that's something, isn't it? But there you go. All right, well, look, anyway, Tower Hamlets Council have been on. They said, while we recognise people's wish to express their views, we have a responsibility to monitor and maintain council infrastructure. Where flags are attached to council-owned infrastructure without permission, they may be removed as part of routine maintenance. But, gosh, Birmingham City have been very, very inundated with replies from us recently, but here we go. They say people who attach unauthorised items to lampposts could be putting their lives and those of motorists and pedestrians at risk. We are continuing to do this every week and would ask that staff doing this work are allowed to continue this work unhindered. Right, thank you very much. A good-spirited debate, that, so cheers for doing that. Coming up, find out why the BBC is spending your money, this time £61,000 of it, on something that, well, I think it'll make you laugh/cry, actually, but also at 10 p.m.
We've got one of the best immigration policies in the world, and we would welcome people who want to come and work, you know, and benefit the community. These men here do not benefit our community, they don't benefit the country, and they need to be deported.
Yeah, but next, as Britain braces for Rachel Reeves' autumn budget, homeowners might be hit with a brand new tax. Let's delve into the weeds of that. Stay tuned.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're thinking of heading further afield for a holiday, well, you can expect some thunderstorms across the south of France, the Alps, northern Italy. Breezy for Portugal, extending into Madeira and the Canaries, that breeze. Across much of Iberia, it's fine, but towards the north into Andorra, the south of France, and more especially northern Italy and the Alps, some very heavy and lively thunderstorms are expected. Plenty of sunshine, meanwhile, for Greece. Temperatures back closer to average following the heatwave last week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. Time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, overall a sunnier day. Yes, still starting fairly grey for many of us, and certainly by tomorrow evening you'll notice a cooler, fresher feel. That's because a cold front is slipping south. We've had this weather front across the far southwest today. It's been providing some fairly heavy showers through parts of Devon and Cornwall and the Channel Islands. They're all kind of fading away through this evening, however, so most places becoming dry. The cloud thick enough over the Midlands and eastern England for maybe a little bit of drizzle here and there. The cloud breaking across Scotland, some clearer spells coming in here, with thicker clouds still persisting over England and Wales. So still quite a warm night, but it will be turning cooler, particularly by tomorrow night across the south. As we go through tonight, as I said, the cloud breaking up across Scotland, so generally a sunnier day to come here. Still fairly cloudy at times around the east coast, and should also be a brighter day generally across Northern Ireland. Again, a bit of cloud early on, but it should be breaking up. It'll take a little longer for the cloud to break up across England and Wales, so again, for that journey to work in the morning, it may be a little bit drab, but again, not much rain around. Apart from the odd little bit of drizzle here and there, most places will again have a dry day. And look at this, the cloud tends to break up as we go through the morning. So Northern England, much of Wales, the Midlands should turn sunnier by lunchtime. May take a little longer for the sun to come out across the south of England, but even here I'm hopeful it will do by the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures about average for the time of year, feeling fresh again on those North Sea coasts with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply though through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist really even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Loads more coming your way. Cannot wait to show you what happened in Epping. But before that, the country braces for yet more tax rises in Rachel Reeves' autumn budget. It's being suggested that the Chancellor is eyeing up a radical overhaul of Britain's property taxes. A so-called proportional property tax is rumoured. So this would hit anyone selling a home worth more than 500 grand. Instead of stamp duty, which is paid by buyers, this new levy would fall on sellers, and it could even replace council tax altogether as Reeves scrambles to prop up our cash-starved local councils. But property experts are warning this is basically punishing people simply for buying and owning their own homes. All this while, borrowing costs are surging, gilt yields now are at their highest level for nearly 30 years. For those who don't live and breathe economics, gilts are essentially IOUs the government sells to investors when it needs cash, and the yield, the return investors get, moves in the opposite direction to price. So if investors lose confidence, they sell up and prices fall, then yields spike. And what does that tell you, eh? Well, there we go. It's a tough time to be living in Britain under Rachel Reeves. I'm joined now by the Director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. Mark, thank you very much. Look, first things first then, this property stuff. So is it proportionate? Is it a mansion tax? How's it going to affect, my viewers and listeners?
Yeah, great question, Patrick, and I fear this isn't going to end well. But let me start, which is not something I often do, with showing a little bit of sympathy for Rachel Reeves. Our present property tax system is a mess. The council tax you pay is based on the valuation of your property way back in 1990, 35 years ago, and wow, the world has changed. Stamp duty is a very old-fashioned, odd way to tax property. So if somebody actually said, look, let's modernise this and overhaul it, let's reevaluate things, I'd have a bit of sympathy. And on the face of it, that's what the government are saying. But I will bet my bottom dollar that the overall tax on property will go up, not down. This isn't just going to be a move to a simpler, supposedly fairer system. You can expect property owners to pay more, basically. That's my big fear. And governments love taxing property because guess what? It's pretty hard to hide your house. It's even harder to move your house offshore. It's pretty hard to deny that you're the owner. So the tax man can get you by the short and curlies, and that's what they're going to do. And a big problem with this sort of semi-leak of their plans, Patrick, is it looks like it's going to really penalise people who own a property worth more than £500,000. Below that, you've probably got less to worry about. So it's more London and the South East, but it looks like it will kick in hard at £500,000. So it's not going to be proportionate. There's going to be this cliff edge at £500,000.
But the thing that I would say about that, Mark, is you don't need me to tell you this, but increasingly £500,000 is becoming less and less when it comes to owning a property. Up north where I'm from, there's plenty of properties that are worth way over that. But even then, when you get out into some of the quotes unquote less desirable areas, I mean, any kind of new build or even like flats around Manchester city centre that are quite modest, really, will be going for this amount of money. So that implies to me that there's people there that have really tried to climb the ladder, have worked hard, have saved up, have done everything right, got themselves on that property ladder and gone, gosh, I bought a property here for £495,000. And then they cling on to that for a few years and they go to sell it, and then wallop, in comes Rachel Reeves.
Yeah, exactly right. And the other thing that we should be highly suspicious of, Patrick, is this £500,000 number. Because you're right, a good number of properties are above that. But I think we can be pretty assured that the government will fix that at £500,000. And in 10, 15 years, 20 years' time, many more properties will be worth north of 500,000, right? Properties tend to go up in price. So eventually it will capture more and more people. And it's that cliff edge effect that's really worrying as well. Just before coming on the show, I did a quick Google search on what is my flat worth here in Wandsworth. And it's probably about 550,000. So I just get caught. Well, that's pretty annoying, because over the last 20 years when I've lived here, I've improved this property a lot. I'm wondering now how I can do £51,000 worth of damage to it in order to get below the threshold. So we shouldn't really be penalising people who are able, as you say, either to get on the ladder or buy a property and do it up or add an extension or make it nicer you'll be caught. So another tax that disincentivises good, sensible, hard-working behaviour. That's what you're in store for.
An aspiration. And we need aspiration in this country. The Americans have an attitude, a lot of them. You know, they want to own a Porsche. They want you to own a Porsche. They want everyone on the road to own a Porsche. You know, over here, it's like, have you got something? We'll tax that. I don't really like that. Mark, look, thank you very much. Tremendous to have you on as ever. I think I might be seeing you tomorrow, actually, for a longer version. So there we go. Take care. Mark Littlewood there, Director of Public Services. Look, obviously, Rachel Reeves is going to argue, I imagine, that she's been inherited an absolute mess and a nightmare and needs to try and sort it out, and that's what this is. But anyway, coming up, victory.
At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it, and we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Kathy, absolute legend. What a legend that woman is. Epping Migrant Hotel is set to close after a landmark legal battle, but I'm telling you now, this could have consequences, potentially good ones, for where you live. But next, you won't believe how much the BBC have spent when it comes to, well, the campaign is called Call It Out, right? Now, bear in mind, this is the corporation that incorporated Hugh Edwards, Jimmy Savile. Yeah, I'll reveal all very shortly. But anyway, if you want to get in amongst the action right here on a Friday night, here's how. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's have a little look, shall we, at how the BBC is spending your money this time. The broadcaster has spent more than, wait for it, 61 grand on 10,000 pin badges, 7,000 mugs and 6,000 lanyards in a bid to promote cultural change and staff behaviour as part of the Call It Out campaign. Well, here to explain exactly what this is Danny Kelly, former BBC reporter. Danny, great to see you, man. What is this Call It Out guff, then?
Well, it's baloney. It's £61,000 of baloney, Patrick, because they've just produced and manufactured and put in orders for lanyards, badges and mugs, and they're going to spread them around the 72 offices and BBC sites across the country to encourage basically people to call bad behaviour out. Now, I don't think for one second, and this is in response to things like Hugh Edwards, I don't think for one second you putting on a lanyard is going to remind you to call HR and just dob in the local sexual deviant prowling the managerial offices of various BBC outlets across the country. You should be doing that anyway. It's £61,000, Patrick. And the BBC love a lanyard, believe me, particularly in the month of June, for example. You can't get away from rainbow lanyards. And mugs, this is a new one. It's there to try and prompt and to trigger people to actually do the right thing and go to HR and say, look, there's a bully in the office. That manager over there, he's bullying me. You've got a sexual predator over there. I mean, looks like a nightmare place to work, the image.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, honestly, seriously, can you imagine what it's like to work at the BBC? Yeah, whether or not it's the likes of Hugh Edwards or Jimmy Savile stalking your corridors, they've got huge issues at the minute when it comes to alleged bullying on the breakfast show, whatever it is. Yeah. And then on top of that, you've got everyone else there who's just sitting there in a puddle of their own fear, thinking, I better not say anything in case someone calls it out.
But it's stories like this, Patrick. 300,000 people refused to pay their licence fee, according to the BBC, in the last 12 months. And when people listen to your show, tens of thousands of people watching you and listening to you right now, and they're saying, what, £61,000 on mugs? That's it. No wonder. They've just got rid of Lineker, saving 1.25, and they're spending 60 Gs of the savings now on mugs. It's just a waste of dough. It's ridiculous. You don't need to spend so much money on lanyards.
No, well, no. And, you know, again, it just comes back to the idea that maybe if some bosses did their jobs, then it wouldn't be on staff. So it's a little bit, it's got echoes of the, why don't the public tackle the shoplifters? It's like, oh, hi, is that management at the Beeb? I think there might be a paedophile over there. Do you want me to do something about it, or are you going to do anything about it? But anyway, Danny, sorry it's so short and sweet, mate. We've got a lot to cram in tonight. You're right at the end of the hour, so thank you so much. There's Danny Kelly there. You take care. A BBC spokesman has said, in April, we committed to immediate action to strengthen our workplace culture following recommendations in an independent review. Our Call It Out campaign is part of that commitment to encourage open conversations and help colleagues recognise and promote positive behaviour across the organisation. Well, here on Patrick Christys tonight, we are unapologetically proud of our great nation. The Union flag is more than just a flag. It's a powerful symbol of who we are. We fly the flag here at the GB News studios every day, and we're sure that you would love to as well. That's why GB News wants to celebrate our national pride with you, our loyal viewers and listeners, in a truly British way. We're giving away 500 Union flags completely free. Yeah, that's right. We're giving away 500 Union flags completely free. Whether you want to fly it from your home, take it to a local event, proudly display it in your window, this is your chance to show your support for our country and everything it stands for. Getting involved is dead simple. Just scan the QR code that you can see on your screens right now and leave your details for a chance to win. It'll only take you a moment. You could be one of 500 proud Brits receiving a free Union flag, courtesy of us here at GB News. So go on, scan that code or go to gbnews.com/flag. That's gbnews.com/flag to enter your details and fly your flag high. Let's show the world what Britain is made of. GB News is proud of the flag, proud of our country, proud to stand with you. Full terms and conditions apply, and they can be found on the website by scanning the QR code. There you go, you see. Look at that, hey? Right, well, coming up, talking of things we should be proud of, victory for the Epping residents.
I've got 3 boys, and I don't even want them walking home from the local pub, and they're 20 years old, just because they have to walk past these. And I don't know what they're going to do. I don't feel safe with them around my...
Asylum seekers are going to be turfed out of that Bell Hotel, but I think it means they could be out of your local hotel as well. Stay tuned.
Expect warm spells
with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. Time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, overall a sunnier day. Yes, still starting fairly grey for many of us, and certainly by tomorrow evening you'll notice a cooler, fresher feel. That's because a cold front is slipping south. We've had this weather front across the far southwest today. It's been providing some fairly heavy showers through parts of Devon and Cornwall and the Channel Islands. They're all kind of fading away through this evening, however, so most places becoming dry. The cloud thick enough over the Midlands and eastern England for maybe a little bit of drizzle here and there. The cloud breaking across Scotland, some clearer spells coming in here, with thicker clouds still persisting over England and Wales. So still quite a warm night, but it will be turning cooler, particularly by tomorrow night across the south. As we go through tonight, as I said, the cloud breaking up across Scotland, so generally a sunnier day to come here. Still fairly cloudy at times around the east coast, and should also be a brighter day generally across Northern Ireland. Again, a bit of cloud early on, but it should be breaking up. It'll take a little longer for the cloud to break up across England and Wales, so again, for that journey to work in the morning, it may be a little bit drab, but again, not much rain around. Apart from the odd little bit of drizzle here and there, most places will again have a dry day. And look at this, the cloud tends to break up as we go through the morning. So Northern England, much of Wales, the Midlands should turn sunnier by lunchtime. May take a little longer for the sun to come out across the south of England, but even here, I'm hopeful it will do by the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures about average for the time of year, feeling fresh again on those North Sea coasts with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply though through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist really even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, well, this is an absolutely historic moment. It really is, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it. Thank you very much for having me, Epping. But it's victory for the Epping community, as High Courts have backed the council's bid to halt the asylum-style use of the Bell Hotel.
Keep us safe, that's all. That's all we ask for. Put us first, not these people.
Well, I think this is going to set a precedent now for hotels in other parts of the UK. It really could be seismic. And by the way, if the government thinks they can palm people off by moving them out of hotels and into houses of multiple occupancy, they've got another thing coming. Also,
a source of tax revenue working people pay, their income tax.
Haven't increased taxes.
And ending the tax break. £1 billion of unfunded tax cuts. And so the tax break for...
Hands off our money. The Chancellor is eyeing up radical overhauls of Britain's property prices that could affect you. Also, on the front pages, we have, I'm finding this out for the very first time with you, The Telegraph is leading with, well, there you go, migrant hotels facing closure. Yes, I'll tell you what, Yvette Cooper is going to have a sleepless night tonight, because the only thing she can do in this situation, as far as I can tell, is press that deport button very hard, and I'm not sure she's got it in her. We've got this on as well.
He's got his hand on the hood, look, as the horse goes up.
Has won the race.
Look, watch again, look to the left.
Yeah.
Chaos in Windsor as a blindfolded loose horse crashed into the plastic running rail. On my panel this evening to pick through all of this, we have got political commentator Esther Cracky, we've got the co-founder of the Together Association, the wonderful Alan Miller, and political commentator Jonathan Liss. And what is going on here?
Raise my glass, Kirk, both to you and to Patrick, of course, the first animal mayor.
Yeah, still yet to find out what that's all about, but we'll find out together. Get ready, Britain, here we go. It's finally happened. It's a huge day. Britain has said no to migrant hotels. Next.
Hello, a very good evening to you from the newsroom just after 10 o'clock. Well, the top story tonight, asylum seekers must be removed from the Bell Hotel in Epping after the council there won a High Court injunction against its use for housing migrants. The judge ruled the site was no longer operating as a hotel in the usual sense, accusing its owners of sidestepping public scrutiny. All 140 residents must now leave by the 12th of September. The Home Office had fought to dismiss the case, warning it could trigger similar challenges nationwide. But lawyers for the council argued protests outside the hotel had created a public safety risk. 16 people have been charged after violent clashes in recent weeks, all sparked by criminal charges against two men who had both been staying there. Both, though, deny the allegations. Well, council leader Chris Whitbread has hailed the decision as great news, but urged locals not to over-celebrate. Turning to international news, and Sir Keir Starmer has now co-chaired a high-level meeting on security guarantees for Ukraine, as Donald Trump is ruling out sending US troops on the ground if a peace deal is reached. Instead, the president suggested the US could help by air, but warned that Vladimir Putin would face a rough situation if he refuses to cooperate in the peace process. It comes as reports suggest Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky have agreed to a one-on-one meeting within the next 2 weeks. Switzerland have signalled it's ready to host. After yesterday's Oval Office talks, Zelensky has called the discussions significant and says Ukraine is already working on concrete guarantees.
After this productive meeting with the President and then with all our colleagues, with the partners, we confirmed that we are ready for a trilateral meeting. And if Russia proposed to President of the United States bilateral, and then we will see the result of bilateral, and then it can be the trilateral. So I said always, so Ukraine will never stop on the way to peace, and we are ready for any kind of format, but on the level of leaders.
Just a quick line to bring you from the White House, in fact, that Donald Trump has reportedly been speaking to Hungary's Viktor Orbán today, discussing those possible Zelensky-Putin meetings, that Budapest may in fact be the location for that gathering, but we'll keep you up to date on any developments regarding that. Sir Keir Starmer has also been commenting on progress he says has been made by the coalition of the willing. Take a listen.
Today's meeting was good and constructive, and there was a real sense of unity between the European leaders that were there and President Trump and President Zelensky. These were the two outcomes that were the most important coming out of today. They're positive outcomes. There was real sense of unity. We've made real progress today.
In other news, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is weighing up a major shake-up of property tax, considering a new levy on homes worth more than £500,000. It could replace stamp duty on owner-occupied properties. The move comes as the Treasury is exploring fresh ways to raise revenue while still keeping Labour's pledge to protect the state pension triple lock. A woman nicknamed the Ketamine Queen is set to plead guilty over the overdose death of Friends star Matthew Perry. 42-year-old Jasveen Sengar has agreed to admit 5 charges, including distributing ketamine, resulting in death. Perry was found dead in a jacuzzi at his LA home in October of 2023, and a coroner ruled his death was caused by the acute effects of the drug. Sanger is one of 5 people, including doctors and Perry's own assistant, accused of exploiting his addiction for profit and supplying the drugs that led to his death. And drivers are being warned of major delays this bank holiday weekend, with 17.6 million getaway trips expected across the UK. The RAC says the South East and South West will see the worst congestion, urging motorists to set off early or be prepared to spend longer in traffic. Friday is very busy, 3 million journeys, then rising to 3.4 million on Saturday, another 2.4 million forecast on Sunday, and 2.7 million on Monday. Groundbreaking advice there. Prepare to be stuck in traffic. Those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you in an hour.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good evening. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you tonight on what is an absolutely historic day in British history. For so long, the scourge of migrant hotels have been a huge bone of contention in communities right across the country. And for a lot of times, it's been seeming like, what do we do about it? We're just banging our heads against a brick wall, talking about it endlessly. There's no way out from this. Well, step forward, the people of Epping. Step forward, Epping Forest District Council. Today they've been granted a temporary High Court injunction blocking asylum seekers from being housed at the Bell Hotel in Epping. Well, why was that? Well, it's because that planning permission was initially granted to that hotel to be a hotel, not to be a holding pen for illegal immigrants. So essentially, it's not doing what it was supposed to be doing. It's against the planning laws. And I dare say that this legal precedent now applies to pretty much all of the migrant hotels in the country. You know, let's just have a look at Bournemouth, for example. They've got 3 of those whopping great big migrant hotels right on the beachfront. Do they all have the relevant planning permission? Maybe they do, but I'd be very doubtful. According to this ruling, they'd have to close. And I think it would apply to the hotel in your area. The hotel company, the people who own this hotel, are not able to appeal. The judge said no. You can't appeal it. So that's that done. And I think tonight, the people of Britain seriously do owe a huge debt of gratitude to the people of Epping and to the people of Essex more broadly. It was an absolute pleasure to go down there earlier today when news of this High Court victory broke. They've been standing on the picket lines for rather a long time, this lot, and I went to say hello. And welcome to the Bell Hotel in Epping, which has become one of the most famous hotels in Britain. But today, it's a historic moment. Why? Well, because the local council here has won a High Court temporary injunction to mean that the asylum seekers who are in this hotel will no longer be able to stay here. That is a huge victory for the locals, who always said that this was an inappropriate place
to house illegal migrants.
We have been peacefully protesting, Patrick, week in, week out. We were told not to. Everything was against us. Everyone was against us. But do you know what? Nothing can beat the British people and their spirit. This constituency once had Sir Winston Churchill as their Member of Parliament. This is a constituency that knows when something is of national importance. And Epping has just done something very big today.
How do you feel today, Joe?
Elated, just delighted that, you know, it's paid off. We've been here week after week protesting and it's worked and we're all just so happy.
This is under the Boris wave of mass immigration under Boris Johnson. He was even worse than Tony Blair when it comes to open borders. Right. And this is just a part of it. You know, obviously they had 14 years to deal with this issue. Yeah. And they didn't. The only reason they're doing anything now is, one, because of these protests, and two, because they're probably going to lose their seats, a lot of seats around here next year.
We've got one of the best immigration policies in the world, and we would welcome people who want to come and work, you know, and benefit the community. These men here do not benefit our community, they don't benefit the country, and they need to be deported.
It don't matter how long these immigrants had stayed in here, there is no way in a million years Epping would not have backed down. Never. Don't matter how strong you are. I know people are scared, their jobs, whatever. Do you know what? That's got to bypass you. At the end of the day, we got a point to make, and we've made it. And we would have stayed here to as long as it have ever have taken to have got them out of here. They shouldn't be here in the first place. As soon as they're coming over, they should just be sent back.
I've got 3 boys, and I don't even want them walking home from the local pub, and they're 20 years old, just because they have to walk past these. And I don't know what they're going to do. I don't feel safe with them around my kids.
They're not minding their own business, are they? And walking around saying, oh, hello, and being respectful. They're not being like that. So that's why we're reacting like this. We can't have it.
Can I ask what it's been like for you here? Because we've had counter-protests, like Stand Up to Racism. Not here today, obviously, because they've lost. But not here today. But what was that like? You coming out as a local and being confronted by...
And there were a lot of them from Waltham Forest. I mean, you don't live around here. What the hell are you doing here? I've lived here 25 years and I shouldn't feel unsafe. I live in a nice area, I live in a lovely house, and I don't feel safe. That's ridiculous. And you can't walk your dog over there on a beautiful common.
And that's where I like to walk my dog, and I've had to go elsewhere.
People from our country, like old people, or have got no money, or they're cutting their heating allowance. They should be in places like that. Our people who've lived here all their life and paid into our system.
I'm going to play you a bit more from this in just a second, but I just wanted to summarise there a couple of things. You know, you're looking at men, women, boys, girls, all from the local community coming out, putting their heads above the parapet, being prepared to take dogs abuse from the Stand Up to Racism lot, who were calling them all Nazi fascist scum, having their faces put out there, and, you know, the risk of losing their job for daring to stand up for their local community. They were prepared to do that, and that takes a fair bit of bottle. You know, some of the stories that I was being told there were absolutely shocking about the way that people are having to change their day-to-day lives in order to accommodate for some of the blokes that were there. You know, not wanting to walk through the forest or the woods there when they're walking their dog in case they get flashed, being worried about the idea that young girls are going to get photographed and videoed, and all of that stuff. It's disgusting that people were being made to live like that in their own community. I also think it's really bad that some of the other media outlets who have turned up, or maybe not turned up and decided to cover the story anyway, have delved into calling people like that far-right, racist, or painting them out to all be gormless idiots, which is actually interesting because it did get a little bit spicy when the BBC rocked up. Why do you guys feel so angry towards the BBC? What is it?
It's just mainstream media, really. They've been like it for years. No one's really liked how they twist things, how they manipulate things, they spin people a yarn. It's just not good, is it? Let's be honest.
Look, what I will say is that I think that this is about the fact that people have felt underrepresented or not represented at all for years, and for the first time they now have a news outlet that's willing to come and get amongst it and not really spin things in a way, just show the unvarnished truth of a situation. Yeah, all right, call negativity out when it happens, but really just trying to give a voice to the people, because, you know, if it wasn't for these people standing up, there's no way that they would have secured this victory today. No way at all. Someone's saying we've got breaking news here. What's happening?
Oxbourne Council is going to take legal action against the migrant hotel.
That's actually really quite remarkable news. I think that if it's been less than about 3 or 4 hours since this verdict came through, and it would appear that other councils are now having a look at what's going on here and going, we'll have a bit of that and we'll do exactly the same thing. Well, that's it from me this evening from the Bell Hotel in Epping. It's been quite emotional being here, really. A huge, huge victory for local people, really over the government, over the system, over the establishment. It's also a victory for people who wanted to come together, to show that they're part of the same community, to stand up for that community, to protect women and girls, and for really what many people would regard as just common sense and local justice. I've heard some really moving stories today, and I hope that the nation can carry this forward here from Epping and maybe take it as a bit of an example as how things can and indeed probably should be done throughout the course of the country. I think I'm just going to play you out with these lads.
Oh, Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves.
Well, there we go. So, as you heard there was that breaking news that happened whilst I was there, which is that noise went round of another council. I've got it here. Broxbourne Borough Council is seeing what's happened in Epping, and they've decided that they want to try to enforce the same thing. The first of many, I suspect. And hey, why not? It turns out that you might be able to block this if you really want to. It puts the Home Secretary in an incredibly difficult position, which is why she tried to block this at the last moment. She tried to block the High Court's decision at the last moment, which says a lot. There's about 300 blokes living in a hotel in Altrincham. There's however many dozens of them living in that hotel there. We've got hotels right across the country. If the move comes that you have to close those hotels because they are essentially illegal, the government is going to have two choices. They can try to accommodate them in houses of multiple occupancy, which is going to go down like a cup of cold sick, and will it be even less safe than what they've got now? So they can't really do that. The other option, of course, is to deport, isn't it? Which one will our government choose? Let's get on to the panel now. We've got political commentator Esther Krakow, co-founder of the Together Association, Alan Miller, and another political commentator as well, and journalist Jonathan List. Alan, I'll come to you first on this, mate. So look, we'll get stuck into this Epping thing now. This is actually a really monumental verdict, this. And as far as I was saying, yeah, I can see they've got two choices. They either stick them in HMOs or they deport them.
Absolutely. Well, the public's not going to be very happy if they go into HMOs. We need to address this. I was just down in Bournemouth. You've got 3 hotels. We've had 116 charges with over 51 individuals, a range of things from sexual assaults to violence. You've got grandparents and children and families there protesting, very worried about what's been happening. They're being smeared by some in the press. That's one of the reasons why some of those people there weren't happy to see the BBC, because we know that people are called all sorts of names when they address these issues. And you see, this is the thing, right? We need some honesty here. We need the political elite to recognise it needs to stop talking contemptuously about the British public and address this issue. And the idea that they're just going to stop having them in hotels and put them in local communities in apartments when we don't have sufficient housing for the British public, we've got lots of homelessness, we've got a cost of living crisis, all of these issues are unacceptable. And at the same time, they're trying to kind of say to us, well, the big solution to all our problems is digital ID. And, you know, that's why we've got a digital Bill of Rights together.
Good, yeah. Esther, yeah, just looking at this now, I mean, if this... So Broxbourne Borough Council have come in and they've said this has set a massive precedent, what they've seen in Epping. I'll read this to you. They want more detail about what Epping has done, and they're going to consider a bid to shut down another housing hotel. There'll be councils up and down the country doing this tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is an option that has now been taken off the table. And I think, to go further, all these hotels that were happy to shut their doors to the public to accommodate these asylum seekers need to be named and shamed. They cannot come back into the public life as if they have not done a massive disservice to their communities by taking this money with little regard to what actually it's doing to the community and community cohesion. But also, you're right, the government is stuck now because basically they either have to really get serious about offshore processing or deportation. The problem that you have is, even if they do have move these individuals to HMOs, what about the people that are not within sort of the asylum? So they've come and claimed asylum, but we don't know where they live. Maybe they have relatives here that are housing.
You can't put them in HMOs. There's no security
but the thing is, that's just one half of the equation. There are people coming here that already have families or
Yeah.
other people, other points of contact. They're probably living with them, probably working for Deliveroo or Just Eat or whatever. What about them? The issue isn't just deporting them, it's about finding some of these people that have either had their claims refused or they're going to be processed offshore and actually doing something about it.
Jonathan, Yvette Cooper's screwed, isn't she?
I think that this is a problem that the government itself is responsible. Not this government, but governments are responsible for. This started under Blair when they dispersed asylum seekers to the country, and then obviously it got worse under the coalition government with new legislation where they started making use of these hotels, which, let's not forget, is also a deeply neoliberal measure in the sense that this has made tens of millions of pounds for private companies. Major companies that run hotels have made an absolute killing.
I refuse.
Our money, made a lot of people unemployed.
Hold on, but you know what's even worse? I refuse to believe that not a single politician or council member knew that this was illegal. Because what the High Court has basically said is you can't do anything. You can't even say boo without getting council permission to do anything to your own property. The fact that these hotels were able to do this basically in breach of their planning permission, I'm sorry, this was known about for years.
The government is certainly not going to take this lying down, and I'm sure that they will go straight to the Supreme Court to test the legality of whether these hotels can be repurposed.
You're right, because if that happens, it's Yvette Cooper versus the people, isn't it? It's Yvette Cooper versus the people at the Supreme Court, and then will she go to the ECHR?
Well, and that's the problem we've got, right? We had a vote where a huge vote in Britain where we had allegedly Brexit, but what we've got is still we're being dominated by global international rules, and we're not able effectively. This is why they keep citing the legal requirement. We're not able to make decisions autonomously properly. We need to be able to get into that position, and this is something that the public's furious about, right? They were given a clear instruction, and this constant kowtowing to international global rules is just unacceptable.
Well, I think that we do not absent ourselves from international law. Brexit was not about unmooring ourselves from the rest of the world. We still have to abide by basic principles, one of which is the right to claim asylum. Not that every asylum seeker will be granted asylum, but being able to claim asylum. And I return to the point that I've made many times on here, that the majority of asylum seekers are not coming over on small boats. They are actually overstaying their visas.
OK. Look, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We're going to get a bit more on this throughout the course of the show. But it's a seismic day. It's a seismic result. Yvette Cooper, I don't think, will be sleeping particularly easily this evening. What on earth is she going to do about this? Deport. Anyway, the Border Security Minister, Angela Regal, has said the government inherited a broken asylum system. At the peak, there was more than 400 hotels open. We'll continue working with local authorities and communities to address legitimate concerns. Our work continues to close all asylum hotels by the end of this Parliament. We will carefully consider this judgment. As this matter remains subject to ongoing legal proceedings, it would be inappropriate to comment further at this stage. Well, look, shortly, Robert Jenrick is going to be in this studio, the Shadow Justice Minister. He was actually at the Epping protest the other day as well. But, you know, copped it a little bit from some people who think that actually during his tenure, the Tories were opening a lot of migrant hotels. How does he feel about this result today? But before that, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. You can win mortgage, you can live mortgage or rent-free for a year and £5,000 in cash. If you haven't got a mortgage or rent to pay, here's 15 grand. Here you go. You can be in it to win it.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. You have to hurry, though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, welcome back. On the front pages, The Telegraph are leading with the big story in town, migrant hotels facing closure. But after the break, Robert Jemrig, the Shadow Justice Minister, is in the studio. Now, asylum seekers face being removed from the Epping Hotel, but were the Tories not responsible for opening them in the first place? Stay tuned.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
27 now. Heaven, Health and Beauty in Shropshire is celebrating the official unveiling of their royal warrant today.
Well, it's been recognised as the supplier of skincare products and treatments to Her Majesty the Queen after she first used the company's products 19 years ago. She's a loyal customer.
She is a loyal customer. Jack Carson has been getting the treatment.
I was just like, I wish my mum was here to see this.
There's a beaming smile on the face of Heaven, Health and Beauty founder Deborah Mitchell as she celebrates the unveiling of their royal warrant. Starting her business with £10 in her pocket in 1995, Deborah says she's worked from the ground up and started providing skincare treatments to Her Majesty the Queen 19 years ago. Today she says she's honoured to be a recipient of a royal warrant.
It is a feeling that you cannot explain, but I was very lucky before having the royal warrant when Camilla Parker Bowles was Camilla Parker Bowles, and I didn't tell anybody I did her treatments. It hit in the press, and then this product, which is the bee venom made from bees, makes the skin look younger using a Botox alternative.
The King and Queen have granted royal warrants to almost 400 companies that supply the royal household, with each one lasting up to 5 years. It also means those companies can display the royal arms on their products. Director and daughter of Deborah, Ella Mitchell, makes this business a family affair, and she's made sure the packaging is already getting a fresh look. Ella says she's proud the products are made in Britain.
The achievement itself, you feel proud to be British, and I think that's one of the core values of us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
OK, well, look, hey, as you just saw, I was down at the Epping Forest protest today as the local council really secured a victory, didn't they? A temporary High Court injunction to get that Bell Hotel cleared of the illegal migrants that are in there. And essentially, it could set the ball rolling, I think, for similar stuff going on right across the country. Well, I'm joined now by Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jemrig. Always a pleasure. Thank you very, very much. Just your reaction, really, to this verdict today. What do you make of it?
Well, look, I'm just so pleased for the people of Epping. It was my privilege to go and meet many of them on Sunday at the last protest. And the people I met were just fair-minded, decent people who were worried about their families and their neighbourhoods. And they have been vilified, demeaned and smeared by many people who've even said they're racist or xenophobic for just doing what I think millions of people across this country would do, which is to stand up for the safety of their own families. And some of the people I met were such good people, you know, like mums who were worried about their daughters, daughters who'd been told by their schools to walk different ways home out of fear of bumping into an illegal migrant. I met a mum who was a single mum with 3 teenage daughters, and she'd come home from work one day to find a pair of workman's boots outside the front door, and she'd asked her daughters, where did these come from? And her oldest daughter, who was just about to go to university, said that she'd bought them so that the migrants would think there was a man in the house.
Flipping, huh?
And her mum and her sisters would be safe. And these are just the people who I met in the protest who today, due to putting themselves out there, being willing to go out on the streets in a peaceful manner, have helped secure this victory alongside the local council.
Just practically speaking, what does Yvette Cooper do now? So can she appeal this? Could she go to the ECHR? Is she going to ramp up the use of HMOs? I mean, she's probably going to have quite a sleepless night tonight, I would imagine.
Well, look, we don't know what the ultimate outcome is. This is an injunction. There's going to be a full court hearing. So let's wait and see. But I know what I would do if I was the Home Secretary. Deport.
Right.
You know, deport these individuals. It cannot be that the Home Office react to this by just moving them onto the next town. So sure, Epping gets a stay of execution, but they turn up in Diss or Altrincham or Fareham or Canary Wharf or wherever it might be. That's not right, is it? We can't just keep spreading this problem around, and certainly you shouldn't just try and cover it up by moving people from hotels to HMOs, so they're not in the hotel at the end of your street, but they're in the house next door to you.
When you say
we know the answer to this, Patrick. It's to deport every single
Well, that's the one I want
migrant.
to ask you about, because that would involve, in some cases, deporting people to places like Afghanistan. Would you be willing to do that?
I don't rule that out. No, in fact, there are other countries that are doing that, or at least starting to do it. Germany, for example. When I was in the camp in Calais last week, one of the migrants I met there, I asked him why was he coming to the UK, and he said he was from Afghanistan, and Germany and other countries were starting to send people back there, whilst he thought the UK would be a soft touch and would never do that. If you break into our country illegally, flagrant abuse of our rules, then you should be sent home. If you can't for some reason, and I think that should be in the most extreme circumstances, then get sent back to a safe third country like Rwanda.
OK, all right, well, obviously Labour decided to scrap that. Now, look, I am going to...
Just in terms of what Yvette Cooper should do now, or Keir Starmer, frankly, they should go to Epping and they should talk to the people that you and I have spoken to, these decent, fair-minded, patriotic people, and hear directly from them, because they have not been listened to by this government, who are making this situation worse. And I think there's nothing better that Keir Starmer could do when he comes back from Washington than actually go and meet these people face to face and understand the depth of anger and frustration there is right now in the country.
Look, I do understand that you got a pretty good reception when you went down there to Epping. As I'm sure one or two people might have said to you, they said the same thing to me today. So I do want to put this to you, which is that the Tories had 14 years at this, and that actually the Tories were ultimately responsible for the initial phase of the migrant hotels. I am going to play a little clip here now, which I'm sure you're sick of seeing, but I'd love to get your reaction of. It's a clip about the migrant hotels during your time in the last government.
We have procured more hotels very rapidly, and more are coming on board literally every day. More hotels have been coming online almost every month throughout the whole of this year. So Suella Braverman and her predecessor, Priti Patel, were procuring more hotels. What I have done in my short tenure is ramp that up and procure even more.
So what do you think when you see that back now? What's your attitude? What would be your response to that?
Well, let me be very clear about what that is. Zia Youssef from Reform put that out. He didn't give any of the context around that. And earlier today, if you look on my Twitter account, you'll see that I've completely taken apart the nonsensical argument that he made. I became Immigration Minister at a time when the camp in Manston was out of control, complete chaos. In fact, there'd been an attack on the camp and the reception centre that we had in Dover. And so we had to do something in that moment to get some of the migrants out. And we didn't want to just let them loose on the streets of Kent. But by the time I left office, a year later, when I resigned from government because Rishi Sunak wasn't doing enough, I had set in train the closure of 100 of those hotels. More than anyone had done previously, more than anyone's done subsequently. And why? Because I actually got the number of people coming on small boats down by more than a third. They'd risen massively in the years before then, and they've risen massively since then. And the hotel in Epping, I closed it. And Labour reopened it a year later. And it used to have families in it, not great, but nonetheless, families. When Labour reopened it, they put single males in, which created so much concern in that community. But look, was that enough? No, of course it wasn't. I don't want to see a single hotel in any community in our country. That's ultimately why I chose to resign from the government, because I thought this was a disgraceful policy, and I was so sick to death of seeing this and the harm that it's causing to communities. The answer that I fought for, tooth and nail, when I was in government, was to change our laws, leave the human rights conventions that are hamstringing us, and then detain and deport every single one who comes into this country. That is the answer to this. We could do that tomorrow. Keir Starmer is making this worse. He's not taking the advice that I've given him, but that's what I would do.
Just very quickly, because you mentioned the ECHR there is a concern that Yvette Cooper might try to use the ECHR to block this High Court...
Well, that would be an irony, wouldn't it? Well, irony of all ironies. Yeah. Look, she should just take heed from the anger and frustration that you can see in Epping and other parts of the country, not try and force this on other communities, but actually adopt the kind of policy that we now actually need as a country and deport these people. The whole racket could come to an end. The hotels, the billions of pounds, the crime that we're seeing on our streets, the people smuggling gangs that she says she's smashing but clearly isn't. The whole farce could come to an end if only she did that.
This is a gift, in a way, for her now. If she looks at this, she can, even if she doesn't want to do it morally, you know, she can hide behind this court ruling if she wants to.
Well, she could do, Patrick. I don't think she will do. But look, what I would say to every council now in the country who shares my concern about illegal migration, whether it's Conservative, Reform, frankly, any political persuasion, do the same. Launch a legal action tomorrow. You've seen that Broxbourne Council, a very good Conservative council, is doing it. Every council in the country should do it now. Protect your residents from the crime, the cost, the community cohesion issues that come with these hotels, and put maximum pressure now on Yvette Cooper and Keir Starmer to end this tomorrow.
All right, look, Robert, thank you very, very much for making the time for us yet again on Patrick Christys tonight. It's always a pleasure. It's Robert Jenrick there, the Shadow Justice Secretary. We read out a comment from Angela Regal at the end of the last section. I'll just paraphrase it again tonight, as they're going to be monitoring the situation very, very closely. And their plan is to close all the migrant hotels at some point before the next Parliament. So watch this space. But anyway, coming up, look, the front pages have landed. We've told you what's on the Telegraph. They are focusing on the topic we've just spoken about here. But the Independent say that the UK is preparing to send troops to Ukraine if a peace deal is struck. In the Daily Express, they're also going on asylum hotel closure is a, quote, victory for mums. Stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're thinking of heading further afield for a holiday, well, you can expect some thunderstorms across the south of France, the Alps, northern Italy. Breezy for Portugal, extending into Madeira and the Canaries, that breeze. Across much of Iberia, it's fine, but towards the north into Andorra, the south of France, and more especially northern Italy and the Alps, some very heavy and lively thunderstorms are expected. Plenty of sunshine, meanwhile, for Greece. Temperatures back closer to average following the heatwave last week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. Time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, overall a sunnier day. Yes, still starting fairly grey for many of us, and certainly by tomorrow evening you'll notice a cooler, fresher feel. That's because a cold front is slipping south. We've had this weather front across the far southwest today. It's been providing some fairly heavy showers through parts of Devon and Cornwall and the Channel Islands. They're all kind of fading away through this evening, however, so most places becoming dry. The cloud thick enough over the Midlands and eastern England for maybe a little bit of drizzle here and there. The cloud breaking across Scotland, some clearer spells coming in here, with thicker clouds still persisting over England and Wales. So still quite a warm night, but it will be turning cooler, particularly by tomorrow night across the south. As we go through tonight, as I said, the cloud breaking up across Scotland, so generally a sunnier day to come here. Still fairly cloudy at times around the east coast, and should also be a brighter day generally across Northern Ireland. Again, a bit of cloud early on, but it should be breaking up. It'll take a little longer for the cloud to break up across England and Wales, so again, for that journey to work in the morning, it may be a little bit drab, but again, not much rain around. Apart from the odd little bit of drizzle here and there, most places will again have a dry day. And look at this, the cloud tends to break up as we go through the morning. So northern England, much of Wales, the Midlands should turn sunnier by lunchtime. May take a little longer for the sun to come out across the south of England, but even here I'm hopeful it will do by the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures about average for the time of year, feeling fresh again on those North Sea coasts with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply though through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist really even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's give you a first glance at tomorrow's newspaper front pages. We start with the Metro. Fury at Reeves's 500k wealth tax on homes. I'm sorry, it's not a wealth tax, is it? Loads of homes are worth more than 500k. Anyway, The Independent, UK preparing to send troops to Ukraine if a peace deal is struck. That picture story is from the Bell Hotel, migrant hotel. The iPaper, migrant policy in disarray as court rules protest hotel must evict asylum seekers. It's so big, it's even gone on the front of the iPaper. The Guardian, High Court rules asylum seekers must be moved from protest hotel. Watch this space, it won't just be that hotel. The Daily Express, asylum hotel closure is a victory for the mums. There you go. The Daily Star, tipping point, service charge Fury for buying beer at the bar. Apparently, if you buy... Yeah, well, this is what it says at the tin, really. If you buy beer at the bar, someone might charge you an extra 4%. Let's deal with what's on the front of The Independent first, because this is a new story that you probably won't have had a chance to discuss yet. Britain is supposedly going to deploy troops to Ukraine if there's a peace deal struck. Alan, do you want to see British troops on the ground in Ukraine?
Well, I think it's really important that we understand some things. We've got a Prime Minister that has not wanted to defend our borders, has wanted to shut down free speech, has all sorts of issues that are challenging our liberties and our privacy around things like digital ID, but tub thumping, all sorts of really terrible measures that happened during lockdown. And, you know, when we talk about sovereignty or questions around the nation state, people are often presented as being racist or sometimes even worse. And yet we're being told that, you know, so... that people will be sent to go and fight for Britain. So the question is here, this is a very serious issue. And I just think that if he can't defend Britain and he's not going to uphold the values that we have in Britain, how comes he's tub-thumping that internationally?
Well, there you go. Esther, how would you feel about... Because, I mean, you don't need me to explain this to you at home. You already know it, but let's just spell it out for some people at the back, maybe. Which is if British troops are on the ground in Ukraine and Putin accidentally fires a missile and it kills some British troops, so where does that leave us?
Absolutely not. Not a single British soldier should die defending not Britain. Like, that's just absolutely not. Not a single British soldier should die in Ukraine. That's ridiculous. And I think we should follow America's lead on this. I do think that security guarantees are reasonable and understandable. And I think this coalition of the West, I get it, I support it. That being said, not a single boot on the ground. Absolutely not.
That sounds like an argument almost that Britain shouldn't have joined the Second World War. I mean, there's a difference...
this is an argument saying warfare has progressed much more than having to have boots on the ground.
Look.
Drone technology and all sorts of other defence capabilities have progressed significantly since the Second World War, and it is not necessary. And more than that, it is absolutely unacceptable.
Okay, but the point is that there is a difference between an aggressive invasion.
Do you know how many active soldiers we have right now? We don't even have enough active soldiers to fill out Wembley Stadium.
We're not talking about Britain.
We're sending them to Ukraine.
We're not talking about Britain invading someone.
It's not
We're talking about Britain standing up for an international...
But that's why I think
Absolutely
geopolitics has to be dealt with really seriously. And we've had an issue, and it's absolutely unacceptable that Putin invaded. And all of the original NATO leaders and others recognised that the West reneged on many of those agreements, right? So we've got people who are being very cavalier with questions of borders and where they are. Again, we're not protecting ourselves against fighting-age men in Britain, and yet talking really tough on an international stage.
Britain is not being invaded by anybody. It's not being invaded. People are not coming to declare war on Britain. You can think what you like about asylum seekers, but we are not at war with asylum seekers. OK?
You know, ISIS and Hamas and the Houthis and the Iranian regime have used the small boat crisis as a way of getting...
Patrick, there is absolutely no evidence that those groups are mounting sustained campaigns of invasion into Britain.
All right, we'll just
there is no evidence.
A few lads from ISIS. That's all right.
There is no evidence.
What about the attack against the Israeli embassy that was foiled?
Growing right here in the UK.
Hold on.
Well, that's true as well. They're not mutually exclusive.
I'm sorry, that's completely disingenuous. What about the attack against the Israeli embassy that was foiled a few weeks ago by an Iranian that came across on those boats?
I'm not saying.
No, but you just said there's no evidence of that.
I'm saying there's no evidence.
He came on a small boat.
Systematic campaign by groups to invade the United Kingdom.
Just a little bit of one, that's fine.
No, it's not true.
It's not true.
A dash of ISIS here and there.
There might be a few
One thing that's very clear.
That's not an invasion.
One thing that's very clear is that we're not going to solve any of these problems with digital ID, so we should have a digital bill of rights.
Right, OK, look, just a little bit of light relief, I think. Chaos erupted at Windsor Races on Monday when a blindfolded horse broke free from the stalls, forcing officials to abandon the race.
He's got his hand on the hood, look, as the horse goes up.
Has won the race.
Look, watch again, look to the left in a moment. There you can see the starter waving the flag.
Yeah, there's the starter waving the flag.
Flipping out, poor thing. That's the first time I've seen that. Master Zach, ridden by Ryan Kavanagh, bolted through plastic rails while still blindfolded, though was quickly caught unharmed. Despite the starter waving a recall flag, 5 jockeys continued and completed the 5-furlong race. Stewards later handed each a 10-day ban for failing to stop. The horse is safe, apparently, but the race has been voided. There you go. Don't blindfold a horse, I suppose. Meanwhile, in other news, Emily and Tom were horsing around this afternoon. And this is, again, the first time I've seen this. I'm quite intrigued about this. So, apparently, it's a Guinness-loving pony called Patrick.
Raise my glass, Kirk, both to you and to Patrick, of course, the first animal mayor in the UK. So, cheers to you, cheers to Patrick, cheers to patriotism too, with his marvellous Union Jack coat.
Oh, you got to look at that. Fantastic. That makes 2 of us, Patrick, both probably liking Guinness a little bit more than we should. But anyway, coming up, we've got loads more. We've got more newspaper front pages for you, so stay tuned.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Yeah. Chris, let's have a look at, I think, one of my favourite stories this morning. And this is the daughter of the inventor of the Freddo chocolate bar, which we have in front of us. Now, I remember at school these were 10p. 10p, 20p?
You remember them at school?
Yeah.
So we had a discussion, an agreement, and I was absolutely hammered.
Are they the same size as the words?
I think they've got smaller, you know.
Of course they have.
Or maybe I've got bigger.
Well, no, we have all got bigger. You haven't actually got any bigger. You're still tiny. But, yeah, they have got smaller. Shrinkflation is a thing.
Is a thing.
Yeah. Depending on where you buy them, you can actually spend £1 for one of these. And they are tiny, weeny, as you can see there. I haven't bitten mine off yet.
18 grams, they're tiny.
The more shocking part of this entire story, Chris Akabusi, is that Chris is the only man on earth...
I've never heard of a Freddo.
What?
I've never heard of a Freddo. And look, there's no way. And then Dawn was trying to tell me that they were around when I was a kid.
Absolutely. You haven't lived. Eat it now. Open.
There's no way that a Freddo... I don't, you know... And then I was thinking... He says here that Freddo is used as a common yardstick to track inflation. No, it used to be the Mars bar.
No, it's the Freddo.
It used to be the Mars bar.
The humble Freddo.
This is. So what's so special about the Freddo?
Just eat it. It's amazing. Cheers.
Oh, cheers, my dear.
Bing.
Well, Chris, tracking the financial index yesterday,
yes,
I decided to have a Mars bar, and I was able to have 2 of them because they were so small.
Yeah.
So tiny.
Absolutely.
And thin.
Absolutely.
A disgrace of what a Mars bar used to be, or an Aztec bar, or a Topic bar, or...
Yeah, there you go.
Anything, yeah.
But you don't remember Freddo.
No, so
we are the same
Wagon
generation.
Wheels, Curly Whirly.
Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah,
as I say, now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Okay, so welcome back, everybody, and let's do the remainder of tomorrow's The Sun. Noel Gallagher says, I'm so proud of Liam. Oh,
isn't this lovely?
To amazing, funny brother. The Daily Telegraph, migrant hotels facing closure. They've also got Love All, Carlos and Emma. Oh, gosh, that's on the Telegraph. What could they know? What do you think it is that people know that they're not actually... Anyway, the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail. They're playing doubles. That's all it is. The Daily Mail. Labour's migrant hotels policy is in disarray. Then we've got the Times. High Court puts asylum hotel policy in turmoil. There we go. Oh, gosh, another picture of them together. There you go. And Trump offers air support to Ukraine as well. So there we are. Right, look, we've done a lot. You a bit more of it, a bit more detail on it. I just wanted to just quickly say about the Daily Star, this tipping point when it comes to pints. Obviously, this is kind of your wheelhouse, isn't it, Alan Warren? What's all this about?
Well, one of the problems is that we've got huge duties, Patrick, in Britain on beer already, some of the highest, and that could get resolved, and that's something that should get addressed. It's also becoming really expensive, not just in London, but Manchester and elsewhere. If you go, you can pay a tenner for a pint in London. But
that's ridiculous.
It is indeed. And look, without naming brands, 1 or 2 places do keep them at a lower rate. But the issue of all of the NI charges, all of the licensing conditions, what happened during lockdown, all of the assaults on hospitality, a range of issues. But just dropping on an extra charge of 40% it's disingenuous. A tiny little sign. I do think that people in Britain, particularly in London, people are tipping more and people are often generous, but it costs a lot to have a pint. We can resolve these issues, right? The licence, a lot of it's to do with the duties. We could resolve some of those issues and we could be much more fluid with our licensing rules, and we should give them a break with VAT a little bit in our hospitality arena because it regenerates cities.
Fine. When I was in Epping today, there was a pub where I parked my car and they let me do it for free. So I went in and I bought around for a few people that were there. You know the pub. I went and bought around for people, and I've managed to buy, I think it was 3 Magnas, a Guinness and a small glass of Pinot for under 30 quid.
That's fantastic.
Brilliant. And that was in Epping. In London, can you imagine what that would have been around the corner from here?
Yeah.
Like 70 quid or something.
But the damage that's been done, particularly during lockdowns and the attacks on hospitality, they haven't recovered from there, and we do need to resuscitate it. It's one of the great British exports, of course, hospitality. It leads to people like Oasis having our fashion, our dance floor. That's transformed Britain.
Just very quickly, we've only got about 30 seconds. You enjoyed your Oasis gig, did you, anyone?
I lost my Oasis gig, Patrick. We were just talking about it. We were both on the pitch, dancing our socks. Not at the same time, hasten to add.
No, of course not. Well, we'd have been on opposite ends, probably, you know, but...
What, Team Liam and Team Noel?
Yeah, OK. Sorry, I was getting told to it, mate. You could have said anything to me then, and I wouldn't have heard it. I would not have heard it. Anyway, we're here on Patrick Christys tonight. We are unapologetically proud of our great nation. The Union flag is more than just a flag. It's a powerful symbol of who we are. We fly the flag here at the GB News studios every day, and we're sure that you would love to as well, which is exactly why we want to help you celebrate. We are giving away 500 Union free. Whether you want to fly it from your home, take it to a local event, proudly display it in your window, this is your chance to show your support for your country and everything that it stands for. Get involved. It's dead simple. Scan that QR code that's on your screen right now, and we'll be in touch with some details. It only takes a moment. you could be one of the 500 proud Brits receiving a free union flag. Or you can go to gbnews.com/flag. That's gbnews.com/flag and enter your details. GB News is proud of the flag. We're proud of our country. We're proud of you. Proud to stand with you. Full terms and conditions apply. And they can be found by visiting our website or scanning the QR code. Well, look, it's going to be a big night for papers on late edition, so don't go anywhere. Almost all of the front pages are going with the fact that the asylum policy, when it comes to migrant hotels, is now in tatters. It's shattered. This is going to be a huge problem for Yvette Cooper going forward. We're going to get you some more detail that's emerging from tomorrow's newspaper front pages. It's the only place to be. I'll see you in a few minutes' time.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. Time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, overall a sunnier day. Yes, still starting fairly grey for many of us, and certainly by tomorrow evening you'll notice a cooler, fresher feel. That's because a cold front is slipping south. We've had this weather front across the far southwest today. It's been providing some fairly heavy showers through parts of Devon and Cornwall and the Channel Islands. They're all kind of fading away through this evening, however, so most places becoming dry. The cloud thick enough over the Midlands and eastern England for maybe a little bit of drizzle here and there. The cloud breaking across Scotland, some clearer spells coming in here, with thicker clouds still persisting over England and Wales. So still quite a warm night, but it will be turning cooler, particularly by tomorrow night across the south. As we go through tonight, as I said, the cloud breaking up across Scotland, so generally a sunnier day to come here. Still fairly cloudy at times around the east coast, and should also be a brighter day generally across Northern Ireland. Again, a bit of cloud early on, but it should be breaking up. It'll take a little longer for the cloud to break up across England and Wales, so again, for that journey to work in the morning, it may be a little bit drab, but again, not much rain around. Apart from the odd little bit of drizzle here and there, most places will again have a dry day. And look at this, the cloud tends to break up as we go through the morning. So northern England, much of Wales, the Midlands should turn sunnier by lunchtime. May take a little longer for the sun to come out across the south of England, but even here, hopefully it will do by the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures about average for the time of year, feeling fresh again on those North Sea coasts with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply though through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist really even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, it is a stellar set of front pages. What a day this is. Labour's migrant hotel policy is in disarray. It looks like they might just have to shut all the migrant hotels. What on earth are they going to do with all of those people? Oh, probably out of the question. They might just decide to deport them, isn't it? We've got a few other stories in town, though. Noel Gallagher's actually done an interview about his brother Liam, which I've not seen so far. The UK as well, Keir Starmer, is willing to put British troops on the ground in Ukraine to secure the peace. Are you happy with that? Stay tuned.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.